Hello, everyone. We are live, and that's a very exciting thing to be. Wow, this is something new we're trying out.
I have a duck underneath my head, right?
Yeah, you do. It's over your head.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. No, that's okay.
So if you move a bit, hang on.
New mediums, new formats.
Yes.
Good.
It's very exciting.
How are you?
So I'm very cool. How are you?
Good. Doing well. Beginning of a new month, right? So what do they say? They say happy month in Greek. I'm sure they say it in a lot of different languages, but it means blessings for a fruitful and happy and successful month. So happy September.
Oh, thank you. Happy September too. Well, how do you say it in Greek though?
Kalomina, which literally means good month.
Kalomina, I like that. Sounds good. So Kalomina to you too.
Good month. Right back at you.
So today, I was thinking about. Sorry about the lighting; it's driving me crazy.
You look like there's some kind of divine. All you need to do is wear like a white sheet, right? It looks like we're having a spiritual seance or something.
I should have worn like a white flowing dress, right?
Yeah. It's okay.
Okay, well, on that note, I was thinking about. Okay, now I've lost track because I was thinking of white dresses. So, self-worth. I was thinking about self-worth and how it's important in business, right? And probably one of the most important things that I was thinking about is how when you self-worth, if you do things like if you go out and you do something like we do this podcast, or you go and start writing whatever, if you write, or if you go and sell something. What I'm saying is if you actually take action on something, bit by bit your self-worth grows, right? But if you sit back and you binge on TV the whole day and eat junk food and all that, then obviously your self-worth deteriorates. What's your take on self-worth and how it affects business?
Wow. How it affects business is everything, right? So there's personal and there's business, obviously self-worth, and there's kind of a tie-in, I suppose. Sitting on the couch and, eating junk food and stuff. Look, everybody's done it, especially these last couple of years have been horrible years for a lot of people. It's not the end of the world, okay? But, we've seen better times. Nobody wanted to be in a lockdown. Nobody wants to see the binge-a-thons. And actually, for me, truth be told, actually calling them binge-a-thons for a small time made me feel it's okay. Everybody's doing it, so I'm okay, right? You felt good sitting on that. Because before that, if somebody called and said, well, what are you doing today? Nothing. I'm just sitting on the couch. I'm going to watch movie after movie after movie, and I'm going to eat junk food. And I'm not even going to get out of my pajamas. Oh, wow, you're lazy. But when this COVID thing hit, I mean, people were doing podcasts, people were doing business meetings on Zoom or, all the stuff that's available. And they would do it in their underwear. They just wear a nice shirt. You can't see, So I don't know. I mean, it was more acceptable to sit there and watch binge-a-thons, right? But it was a moment. It happened. It's just like any war where the world comes together or a country comes together. Manufacturers stop what they're doing and they start manufacturing goods for a specific purpose to help the nation, like our World War II, right? That's what happened.
Yes.
So self-worth, if I'm sitting home every day and every day's the same, and if you guys love movies, then you'll understand what I'm saying. Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. Every damn day was the same
Yes.
day, 6 a.m.,
Yes.
same song. You get up, same people, same everything. You know, you go through patterns, you go through funks. That's what I call it. And you don't notice this, but if you continue that pattern day after day after day after day, month after month, and I've done it, so I know, the quality of your life gets less and less and less because you omit something subtly each and every day. So as an example,
Yes.
if I woke up and I went and I got my coffee, and then after my coffee, I looked at the news a little bit, and then after the news, I maybe exercised a little bit, and then I watched the show, right? If you keep doing that, eventually it might be coffee, less news, less workout, more show, and then coffee, no news, no workout, all show. I mean, you don't notice it. It's very subtle, but your day becomes just flatline. There's like nothing going on.
Yes.
And you can't really, if you're that close to it, like I was, you can't really notice that you've been chopping out a lot of interesting times in your day that could have shifted your funk into a completely different scenario, right? Like when people say snap out of it, you can't make somebody snap out of something, but it is at least for me, a very valid comment. Literally, the difference between feeling, I'll say it because it's me, the difference between feeling suicidal or life and death is the same, doesn't matter, to life is beautiful and wonderful and has meaning and has purpose is a snap.
Yes.
It really is. Now, I'm not cheapening it, for anybody out there. I'm just saying, looking back on those dark times in my life, and we've all had them, it literally is the snap of a finger that gets you into a different trajectory, right? Self-worth. You're not going to wake up one day and say, do you know who I am? I'm Dino Miliotis and I'm worth something, and damn it, I'm going to do something about it. Self-worth is just really, for me, it's like a vague thing. Self-worth comes from affirmation, confirmation, reaffirmation of things that you're doing that make you feel good, that make you feel whole, that make you feel valuable, that make you feel like you have purpose. That comes from other people. That comes from the extra zeros in your bank account. I'll say it, okay? I'll say it. That comes from the feeling that you get that you know that you lit up the room or put a smile on somebody's face or something like that. That comes over time. Right? Now, that's my personal take on personal self-worth, right? And I know it ties into business. Self-worth in business for me is a little different. Okay. Am I answering your question before I go off on this tangent?
Yes. So for me, self-worth, I agree with you with the self-worth. And I know it is a difference between feeling like suicidal, which is, it's so easy to fall into that rabbit hole where you wake up in the morning.
Scary how easy it can be. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes. And you just think like, it's the end of the world. What am I going to do about it? And I agree with you where you say it's just do something. Just get up, snap your fingers, get up and take a walk or whatever, or call a friend, or just do something to change that energy. Because it's also very easy to just say, oh, I'm suicidal, and to crawl under the covers and to stay there, or to watch TV all day or whatever.
Yeah.
So I agree with you there. So self-worth, again, is about purpose and meaning for me. Okay. What about business?
Well, business is a little different now. So you're talking to an old school guy, and one of my mentors, and I wrote about this in my book, is he he lived it and he taught it to me. He said, when you can least afford qualifications, that's when you need to put them in. And I didn't really understand what the hell he was talking about, to be honest with you, right? But I watched him and I understood later his story. And then I adopted that statement so much that it almost destroyed me. But I wanted to prove it. I'm the kind of guy that's just, don't just give me a snippet of the day and think I'm just going to, oh, that's so beautiful. That's so nice. And we send roses. Everybody does that. And that's great. But you're talking to a guy, if you're going to tell me something, let's prove it out. Let's see it. Don't get scared. But this is just the analytical me, which has served me very well in business. So I made the promise to myself when I was between jobs, and this was 1993. It was based on this mentor statement that when I at least can afford qualifications, that's when I have to put them in. The bold statement I made is I'm never wearing a tie again, and I'm never working for somebody again. Do you know why? Because I was tired of working for somebody else, immersing myself in their dream, thinking that the more involved and immersed I get in this dream, there's a future for me and the owner always. Because the better I do, the better they do. I mean, for me, it was just really simple. But that's not always the case, is it?
No, unfortunately.
There always would come a time where I would bump heads with the owner. The people between me and the owner never bothered me. It was just like, get out of the way, let's go. But eventually it was me and the owner. And we'd always clash because he would remind me, or she, that the company wasn't mine. So for somebody like me, and there's, I think, a lot of people like me, that was a kind of insulting. It was a final. It was the end of the road for me. It told me that the only value I have to this individual is what I bring to the table on their terms. And after that, they are closed-minded in letting me in letting me soar past that. And it's almost like reins on a mule or a stallion. I got to control him. He's a moneymaker, but I got to control him. Nobody's going to control me. Nobody, right? And I've been called an unbridled stallion. Now I know why. I didn't know why. But so I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't work for anybody again, and I wouldn't wear a tie, because the tie for me was a symbol of I'm somebody else's cattle. I'm going to just say, you guys want to know business? I'm telling you business. This is my business. So you open up the classifieds at the time. Yes, it was still made out of paper, and you actually had to turn pages. But you look through there and all these things come up, help wanted, manager, help wanted, entrepreneur, help wanted, this. But it was always like working for somebody. So the ones that were just, they offered a product or a service as an opportunity, like an entrepreneur, like work for yourself, they were mostly scams for me. Future so bright, got to wear shades, and
yes.
sell some of this, and everything's going to be so it was really tough for me, really tough. And I almost lost my mind. I mean, I was broke. I was frustrated. I was selling furniture that I needed to sit on at garage sales. I'd figure out, I'd go and school myself at the library and figure out maximum exemptions and stuff like that, so you could get money back from the taxes for my wife who was working. I mean, just the craziest things, anything, just to have some money. And I was running out of options, running out of time. And I'm just like, wow, I think I'm at the point where I got to work for somebody, right? But I held out, and all of a sudden this opportunity came with sports memorabilia. And, the rest is history. Sports memorabilia led to the bug band invention, the mosquito bracelet. And after that, on and on and on and on. Right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
how did this magical transformation happen? It happened because I held my guns. I stuck to my beliefs and literally tested that mentor's statement. I mean, tested it, right? Because I was going down with the ship. But when I got that call from somebody, instead of saying, "Oh my God, thank you so much. You can't believe it," I was ready to fight. I'll do anything. I didn't say that. I said, "Whoa, yeah, we have this project we're doing with Joe DiMaggio, and we thought that you'd be perfect to market this." And what did I say? Well, I have my own marketing company, and I am doing some projects. What do you propose? Right? In other words,
Yes.
what I'm subtly saying is, I have my own company. I don't want to work for you. I'd love to work together with you, but I will market for you as a company. Okay? Big difference. Because I could have said something different. I could have said, "Do you offer health benefits, and how much can you pay me per week? Because I really need money." And it would have been all over. I mean, I would have, all over. I would have lived to fight another day, and I'm sure there would have been another road with a different adventure. But the one I chose was clearly marked because of my position by
Yes.
making that statement. Do you
Yes.
follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
So from that point on, it wasn't, "Oh, you're making $500 a week. You're making $1,000 a week. You should be happy. And you're getting benefits and you're getting perks." Yeah, that's great for a safe guy. And there's nothing wrong with safe guys. But that wasn't me. That was never me. That just can't be me. I'm sorry, but that's just not me. The way I did it, I could make $1,000 a day. That's because I'm a company performing a service. The better I do, the more I make.
Yes. Yes.
Not stealing it from them. I'm not cheating them. It's just an agreement that's made between two companies that, hey, you want me to sell this? I want this. And if they say, okay, that's the agreement.
Yes.
So self-worth. Did I have self-worth at the time that I received that call to make that bold statement? Probably not. So do you see, that's where it differs a little bit from your personal self-worth, right? Is in business, whether I have it or not, I have to have it. I have to present myself as I have it. That's not a lie. It's just presenting a polished image. I could be the most successful person in the world right now, and I can blow any meeting, by the way, just by saying things that are turnoffs, right? Well, I think we could do this. Look, I'm a little rusty. I haven't done this in a long time.
Yes.
I've never done this project before. I mean, I've heard about it, but I could read up on it. Will this be successful? I hope so. But can I promise anything? Do I have a crystal? I don't know. Okay, we'll see you later, Dino.
Right.
You know
So
what I mean?
it would be the same kind of thing that if you had taken that call and acted the way you desperate, like, "Oh, thank you. You don't know how you've saved me," you wouldn't have got the work. Because
I think you're wrong. I would have gotten the work, but it would have been on entirely different terms.
Yeah,
It would have been, by the way, we were selling like $3,000 pieces of art with no marketing budget at all. And literally working in an artist's studio, like all dusty and dirty and like boxes and stuff. And, I have to box up the products that I sell. So I would have been somebody who could have sold 20 of these a week, which I did. I was selling 20 to 50 at a point. and probably making $1,000 instead of
Yes.
making 20 to 50,000.
Yes. Yes.
That's the difference, right? And so I would have gotten the job. They would have been jumping, dancing from the rafters after the what I did for that project was great. So I wouldn't have worried about job security. That's another one. Don't ever worry about that. But I wouldn't have established myself on those terms. It was because of those terms that I established myself, that people took notice that I have a company. I have my own goals. I have my own dreams. It doesn't just end with this project.
Yes.
That I'm willing to look at other projects, which I did. Somebody came along and said, hey, do you sell rings? World Championship basketball rings or baseball rings, the World Series rings. Do you sell bats? Do you sell baseballs? No, but you work with some people, they have connections. What's my lowest price? What's price are they being sold for? Boom, guess what? You have a profit. I don't have to share with anybody. It's my company. I'm doing my own thing. So we talked last week about setting the stage, and this really falls into that as well.
Yes.
It's setting the stage. It's establishing in business to who you're dealing with. This is who I am. Here are my parameters. They're not set in stone, but I kind of want to subtly tell you who you're dealing with, right?
Yes.
And that just, for me, it eliminated a big pressure because of my experiences. Like I said, I mean, always, up until that moment, I always climbed to the top, and something happened with either the company I was working for or with the owner. And it was never pro me. And it doesn't make them bad people.
No.
In one circumstance, the company went chapter 11 or chapter 13, whatever it is. You can't help that. But on other ones, it was just like, well, don't tell me what to do kind of a thing, right?
Yes.
So that's my take on self-worth. It was a lot easier for me to do this in business because I loved movies and I loved TV shows and I loved acting. And to me, that was acting. What is your favorite character? The mannerisms. When you don't have any of your own, you borrow from your idols, right? I mean, we all do it. And so I had a wealth of idols in my mental library that I can borrow gestures from and play them off as my own until I established my own way of communicating, which is unique. It's different. It's, I don't have a patent on it, but it's not fake. Let's just put it that way. It's genuine. It's the delivery is genuine. People do stutter when they talk naturally. People do pause. People do take breaths. People do have inflection in their voice. They're not monotone like this all the time. I mean,
of course, yes.
Right? They use their hands. They have direct eye contact. They look away. All these things are not fake, but they're all gestures. They're all things that your eye hits. All of us do this, right? I don't have to come to this podcast and prove I'm successful by doing this through the whole podcast. I don't have to do that.
No, of course not.
Show you my shoes. A lot of people think that that's where it ends. Take a picture of me. Here's the big one now. Take a picture of me in front of a Rolls Royce and behind a private jet. And
yes.
I'll just wear a suit and I'll look off into the sunset and then I'll look semi-smart and that makes me successful. Here's the sad part. You'll probably get 40 or 50,000 likes on LinkedIn doing that kind of stuff.
Right.
How long do you think you're going to fool your audience? Or these people that are just absolutely drop dead gorgeous. and they have some of the most insightful sayings of the day. I'm not making fun of gorgeous people, trust me, or saying that they're not capable. That's not what I'm saying. But it's always like model-esque kind of people that have these successful sayings of the day. So-and-so runs their own business, does this, number one, films, television, movies, whatever. And you start looking at the substance and looking up what they do, and you can't even find them. You can't find them. Okay, so why do you have all these followings? Because of the picture. I'm sorry.
Yes.
That's how shallow sometimes this world feels for me. That's how shallow it is.
Yes.
You can have a gold bar statement. This is what you do, and you will be successful. And people will give me less likes than, posting somebody gorgeous that's in front of a Rolls Royce with a private jet behind it. If that's what some people want, that's fine. Who might argue?
I know.
But when the time comes to hire somebody that can get the results, they know where to go.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So don't believe all the hype. Now, let's bring this back. We're talking about self-worth. Self-worth, one affects the other, right? So if I'm having a horrible time and at home, right? And I'm in that funk that we were talking about, and I'm in that rut, I'm probably not going to want to entertain taking any kind of business call that week.
Yes.
Why?
Of course.
Well, I don't know. Because anything that comes out of your mouth is going to be poison. It's going to be toxic. And you don't mean it to be, but it just comes out. Just like the example I gave you. I've never done this, but I hope, I'm praying we're successful.
Yeah.
But when you're on, you're on. When you feel it, you feel it. So what does it take? What are the things that kind of start building that self-worth? It's really hard to maintain self-worth on your own without reaffirmation. And that's why I feel so bad about everybody being immersed in this social stuff, because that's kind of a false reading. I read something today where it said, the most negative generation with the happiest pics, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, what a positive guy, posting that. But it is kind of true. I don't know if we're the most negative generation, but just think about it on its face. What he's saying is kind of true, right? So this morning, I'm under the weather. I don't feel good. Stay in bed. You should rest and whatever. But then you stay in bed, you feel guilty. Because you feel guilty, then you feel like a loser. This is me.
Yes, yes.
Loser, you don't want to let anybody else know what you're doing, especially now. Oh, it must be COVID. You got to get tested. Oh my God.
Yes, of course.
We had colds before COVID, but I'm not getting political or anything like that. I'm just making a statement.
Yes, yes.
So you don't want to talk to anybody. You're in your PJs, you're sitting home, you're watching TV, you're guilted out of your mind. You don't feel good about yourself. All these things, right? Or shocker, you can just get up. If you have to, run. Okay? Just run. And go in the shower, take a shower, feel refreshed, wear something clean and nice, and get the hell out of the house.
Yes. And remember to make your bed.
You can even if you feel that bad where you don't want to make your bed. I'm just saying, get out of the house. There's something about getting out and stumbling onto life's little crossroads that is really, really therapeutic. And by the end of the day, trust me, if you still want to feel bad, it'll still be there when you get home, But chances are you'll feel a lot better, right? You'll feel a lot better because you've done things naturally throughout the day that give you that natural stimulus that you feel, right?
Yes, yes.
So All right. So business self-worth, I don't want to beat this to death, but if I was ever in a funk and I knew I had to make stuff happen in business, I would force myself out of my comfort zone at home to get to a place where I felt strong enough to, at that moment, make a call and sound perfect. And know that's probably the only call, the only perfect call I can make that day. So you choose when to be 100%, and you're smart enough to know when you're not. Please refrain from making sound business decisions.
Yes.
I guess what I'm saying is these are moments, right? In both cases, personal and business, they're moments. Like we've talked about, life is fluid. It just always changes. You'll feel bad for some reason. You'll get a memory. It could be a smell. You may miss somebody that's not in your life anymore. You may miss somebody who's passed. These are all normal feelings. You can't read these things that say how to beat sadness, how to beat, this is my favorite, how to beat addiction, how to beat insecurity, 5 fast ways to be secure and confident. Everybody's real quick on just labeling stuff and making things so mechanical. And what you find is life's not like that. Life is continuously moving. And I think that the world favors the curious, because the more curious and unafraid you are to ask about something that you don't understand, you don't agree with, you don't feel, you don't believe, the more flavor you get, the more different takes on life you get that you can use in your library, your arsenal, right?
Yes.
And that kind of helps get through. So, what makes you an expert on everything that's going on with your life? Experience, either personal or acquired. So the things I talk about are personal experiences in my memoir, the first one, my memoir, the second one, or when you ask me stuff about business or sobriety or, all those things, I rattle off things because I've done them, right? But there are other times where if I'm going to talk about a subject that I haven't done, I may still talk about it with authority because I've acquired the experiences of others who have.
Of course.
Because I'm a curious person who wants to know, right? And where other people are like, oh my God, not another question. You know what? It helps me out. God bless the people who put up with me. But it helps me out because it just gives me data, life data, right? All right. So there's my take on. I hope I answered what you were looking for.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense to me because, like I said, it's very easy, especially in business. I mean, being an entrepreneur is a very lonely path if you make it that way, right? Because it's easy to sit behind a computer and then and do all the stuff, but sometimes at the end of the day, you don't do what you set out to do. So let me speak about myself. I set out to do so much. And at the end of the day, because I also think that I can do more than you can actually do, which is always the case, right? At the end of the day, I don't get done. So then I'll beat myself up. And then it's very easy to go down that rabbit hole and to feel bad, and then self-worth. And then it just spirals out of control. And I can't do anything else after that for a few days or whatever. So I like the idea of you going out, finding a place where you are feeling it, you're feeling better than being at home and making that one call. Because, even if you make one call a day, it increases your self-worth. So,
Well, yeah. I mean, in business, I don't know what kind of business, but in all the ones that I've ever been involved in, they do require communication. More
yes.
so than, you know, you know, at first it was emails, then it was texts, now it's whatever the hell they do, you know. But in all cases, it is an impersonal form of communication. It was never meant for you to reply your life story.
No.
Okay. So when texts first came out, when that was the new rage, uh, I, I, I used to almost like a deposition. You want to prove your innocence in the deposition. So you say everything that you could possibly think of to prove your innocence until you find out from your attorney. It's either yes, no, or I don't know. It's not going to get you off this case. And that's all they care about, right? So in a text message, I would sit there and I would write paragraphs as a response back to people. And then I wonder why they wouldn't, you know, respond, right? Well, number one, if you're driving, you'll probably get in a car accident. Number two, you know, again, a text message wasn't designed for you to write a novel on. It's yes, no, maybe, call you later. Just very simple stuff. Actually, email wasn't really meant for novels either. And thinking back on the busiest times of my life, if somebody got me to say more than 3 words, either by email or text, I mean, they were just like lucky, because you don't have time, and it wasn't the form of communication I was looking for. It's the again, your appearance and your talent comes with a voice, right? And you ever hear some people that say, "Oh, wow, you know, you got such a good speaking voice. You got such a good, you know, demeanor. You should be a speaker." You know, why don't they say that about everybody? I don't know, but it's another art form, right? Yes. And so I knew that in my line of work, the stuff that I chose to get involved in, it was critical, not important, critical to see the people you do business with, to meet them, to shake their hand, to say a hello, or at the very least, you know, be on the phone with them. You know, why these things have evolved into being so difficult to do now, I don't know. But in my opinion, it's not saving me time. It's costing me time later, because this is such a glossy new way of communicating that you overlook the I's dotted and the T's crossed and the what if moments that you collaborate about to do preemptive strikes or prevent disasters, right? And later on, oh my God, I didn't see that. Oh, wait, because we never talked. Because we never communicated like human beings are designed to do. You know, there are just certain things that we weren't meant to do. We weren't supposed to bypass communication. We weren't supposed to bypass feeling, shaking hands, eye contact, all the wonderful things that go in that are part of life. But then again, increases your self-worth, right?
Yes.
Having a conversation, I'm constantly doing this. How does that make you feel? It's not going to make you feel like you're effective, right? No, but if I'm engaged with you, if I'm talking to you, if we're interacting, if I touch you, right? We both get off, and you know, the podcast or the Zoom or whatever. What is this?
This is StreamYard.
StreamYard, whatever. And wow, you know, that was pretty good. I feel good about it. So that also adds to self-worth as well. Again, yes. People won't believe this. It's very, very difficult for people to trust what I'm going to say. I even had difficulty trusting what I'm about to say. But the difference between a bad mood and a good mood is a snap. It is.
Okay, tell me why.
Why? Because it's a mindset.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's a mindset. It's just reinforced negative or reinforced positive. And the only way to break out of it is action.
Yes.
That's the only way to break out of it. So if I was if I was stuck on an island with negative naysayers, and that's all I had, and I had no positive books to read, no positive movies, no anything, right? I would eventually lose my mind. Or
Yes.
if I wanted to pick up my self-worth, I take one of those negative naysayers who's the weakest and try and convert them into just a little more positivity, which would in turn make me feel better and increase my self-worth.
Yes.
So you could still find self-worth in negatives.
Yes, always. Of course. Of course.
Right.
Of course, because it's a decision you make, right? It's also a decision. So you can, if something happens to you, like someone has an accident, for example, and they hurt their leg. And then from there they get better or whatever. They can either see it as a negative, as, oh no, I hurt my leg, it's the end of the world, I'm not going to be able to walk again. Or they can say, hey, you know what, I've hurt my leg, but if I start working, if I get physical therapy, if I start walking or whatever, I can learn from this experience and maybe it'll make me a better person. Right?
Or they could say, oh, wow, I hurt my leg and now I'm going to get all this attention from people coming into the hospital asking me how I'm doing.
Yes. And then you say, oh, whoa, I'm so sad because my leg is sore. You can do that too.
Look, I mean, this is, I get that this is kind of silly and also in some points, simple Simon stuff, but it is really the truth. It's just, we're very complex machines, the most complex machine ever created. Still, believe it or not, everybody in the basement say, ooh, there's AI intelligence. I don't want to hear it. We are the most complicated, right?
Yes,
and with that complicated machine comes a whole set of just wild, crazy things that you just either, some you expect, some you don't expect. I mean, we don't have, you know, in the 70s, they were selling sunshine in a can in Florida. Big marketing gimmick. It's $3. It's a can, an empty can, and with the label sunshine in a can, you know, from sunny Florida. And it was like a pet rock. I mean, it was actually brilliant. But sometimes I think today, all the topics and subjects and hosts and articles and all that stuff, it's almost like they expect that the sunshine in a can is real. It exists somewhere. And that we're fools for not picking it up. Oh, I got to order me a sunshine in a can. It just doesn't work that way. You're not ever going to have a perfect, happy life. And that's okay.
Yes, it's okay, of course, because you know what? It would be boring anyway. We'd create chaos anyway, right? Just because we get tired of the good stuff.
Well, it's not tired of the good stuff. It's just sometimes you don't know how to handle it, but people always default into their rut. They always default into what they think is comfortable, and sometimes comfortable isn't good, right? But
yes, no.
But it happens. You could be the most positive, strong person in the world and get sidetracked. There may be binge-a-thons coming back one day, and we're all like, "Oh my God, you're not staying home binging?" You know? Oh yeah, of course I am. Are you? Yeah. You know, but eventually, what you have to do is you have to have balance. You have to do different things. You have to have a little time for yourself, a little time for family, a little time for friends, a little time for self-reflecting, a little time for creativity or work or what. It's never one thing. It's never one thing. And even me, when I was just one thing, which was be the best entrepreneur, just blow everybody away and whatever. What I didn't understand then is I was building friendships and relationships and all the things that we need while I was doing this. It was just with business people. It wasn't with friends. It wasn't with, off work friends or even family or anything like that. But I still had those relationships, right? Where you could share a laugh, or you could share a good moment, or you could, be a little sad or whatever. I mean, I had them. That's what sustained me. What derailed me was just thinking that the people that expect a paycheck, that they're not real friends. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some maybe, but are you my paid friend, or are you a real friend? Are you genuine? I mean, that brings up a whole new subject, but self-worth is really tricky. You could feel worthless in the morning, and with one phone call from somebody that says, hey, you know what? I just wanted to thank you. Last week we spoke, and what you said really made my day. I promise you, when you hang up that phone, you're not going to feel worthless. Okay? That's what I mean by it can happen that fast.
Yes.
It's never permanent, although we act as if the funks that we're in are permanent. And, what do we do? What should we do? We got to get out of this. And it's just a tick on the clock. It's just a moment in time. In your entire life, it's just a little blip. That's it. That's all it is. And if it takes people to hear this, to make them realize for themselves that, hey, everybody goes through this, then, so be it. But for all the business, and thanks for asking me a business question, for all the business people out there is you gotta play the part before you even have the part. Okay? And what that means is, if you really want something bad enough, you gotta don't fake it, like be something you're not, but show your best side to somebody, hold your ground, and speak with conviction. I'm not the only one who made that decision not to work for somebody else. But I will tell you that there are more people that would cave with the pressure of not finding what you're looking to do in life. They would cave at some point because the pressure of I need money outweighs my standards and my beliefs and my values. That's a tough one that you got to play with. I'm not saying I'm always entirely right. I mean, that was really almost like a suicide mission, right? But it worked out. It worked out. You just got to be strong. How bad do you believe in something? Is it just all this, or do you really believe it? If it's all this, get a day job. Nobody thinks any badly of you. Have a nice life. Make a nice living. You're no worse or better than anybody else, and and move off to the sunset. But if you're really, I'm an entrepreneur, and I really want this, and I'm a go-getter, and I want to do this. This is okay, Junior. Let's go. You want to put it to the test? It's not always rosy. It's not always going to be the way you think. It's not a movie. This is real life. You're going to go through pain like you have never experienced in your life. The rewards are tremendous, but the pain is too. So be careful what you ask for.
Yes, that's true. But also the growth is wonderful, though, because you just grow and you become a better person because of it, right? So it's
sometimes that's not always the answer either. It's just a rest stop, Carina. It's just an experience. It doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you worse. It's just a route. It's like skiing. There's the bunny hill. There's the intermediate, and then there's the black diamond or whatever they call it, which, by the way, I made the mistake going on the bunny hill. I wasn't seeing the signs. And for some reason, I was on the black diamond, and I almost like broke my kneecap. But my point is, when you hear black diamond on a ski slope, you know that's not a slow ride. Right?
Right.
But when you're on it, finally, you're not going to sit there and say, I thought this would be more comfortable than this. You knew this was going to be a fast and furious ride, right? That's all I'm saying.
Right.
There is the bunny hill and there is the intermediate hill. So that's all I'm saying. Just because you did the black diamond doesn't mean you're always going to be black diamond. You may say, you know what, I've tried that. I like the bunny hill. And that's fine too.
Yes,
But don't go to a black diamond and say, well, you know, I didn't really think it would be this wild of a ride. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be the wildest ride you've ever had. So strap your seatbelt. That's all I got to say.
And I love that. And of course, yes, some people love the wild ride and some people don't. And that's what makes life beautiful, right? You have a choice to do whatever you want to do in your life.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Well, that's very cool. I love that self-worth. I love your self-worth take. I just wanted to go back. You mentioned about where you've got two things, right? You can either take the positive route, you wake up in a funk and you change your mind like this, either positive or negative. But sometimes you have the stories in your head, and your head makes you go crazy as well. And that just derails you even more, because you make up stories in your head that eventually aren't even true. So what do you say about that kind of thing?
Give me an example.
Okay, so maybe let me think of an example. So let me give you an example of last week. Okay, that's a good one. We started the show last week about my the guest that ghosted me, right? Okay, the guest that ghosted me, and I assumed in my head that he had fallen off the wagon and he was lying in a ditch somewhere and whatever, which was in my head. So a few days later, he called me and said to me, "Hey, you know what?
Shocker, right?
Right, shocker, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He's saying, hey, you know what? I've started my job. I'm really happy, and I've got a computer now. I can do the show." So, and meanwhile, I had just created this huge, ridiculous story in my head for someone that's like we acquaintances, like we're not even. But that's what I'm saying. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, well, if you look at that last week's show that we did, I actually, you know, I didn't. I'm not going to say aggravated. No, I got a little aggravated because it's like, whoa. You're assuming that this guy is. He fell off the wagon. I mean, and let's make that clear. He's either back drinking or doing drugs. That's what we're saying.
Yes.
And at the time, I think I said there's only one way to find out is call him or, you know, reach out to him, right? But to sit there and believe it so much, like, I mean, and what were you really saying? If you want my take, if you dare, what you were really saying is, am I having an effective show when the guests that I'm booking don't even show up or give little thought into explaining why they're not on? It was a personal insult to you. And that sucks. That sucks. And you know what? And I would do the same thing. I would be like, wait a minute. You know, I've talked to this guy. We booked him. You're supposed to be on. He wasn't on. Either I'm doing a bad show or this guy fell off the wagon. Yeah, that's it. He fell off the wagon because why wouldn't he be on here? But then you start thinking, is he not on because he didn't want to do my show? And then what's wrong with my show? There's got to be something wrong with my show. Maybe I got to change this. Maybe I got to change the format. Maybe it's me. Maybe I got to do this. Maybe I need a different background. And then you just drive yourself nuts, right?
Yes, okay. Of course.
Tell me, we're all George Costanza from Seinfeld in some days, some circumstances. And we can all have this illogical conversation multiple times every single day.
Yes, of course.
Or you could just say, maybe he didn't fall off the wagon, maybe he got that job. Maybe he's got stuff going on in his life. Maybe your podcast isn't the most important thing in his daily schedule.
Yes, I know.
Shocker. I'm not making fun of the podcast or you. I'm just saying that it's very, very strange how quickly we default to justifying. It's either this or this.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So all of a sudden you become judge, jury, and executioner. I thought in this country anyway, Carina, you're innocent until proven guilty. Right here, we tried the guy. You've fallen off the wagon. We know it. Admit it.
Yes.
They're not even there. They're not even there. These are all things in your head. Right?
Exactly. Yes. And then it drives me, it just spirals out of control.
Right. And you probably felt a lot better when you did receive the phone call.
Of course, because then I realized that it's my crazy head, my crazy writer's head, I think, that just goes out of control.
Well, there's my title for the second book. Now you know why. And the world still turns, doesn't it?
Yes. Right? Yes, of course.
That's the whole point of that title. Is honestly, is that. Right? Oh my God! This catastrophe. Oh, even if you're just like, I have $1 left in my bank account. If I don't make any more money, I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my car. I'm going to lose this.
Right.
And the world still turns, because you know what? A year from now, you're talking about that moment. You're laughing about that moment.
Yes.
It's not as hysterical. It's not as serious. And you found a way, didn't you? So the world still turns.
Yes. Yes. And
that's how you got to put these things in perspective, like every day. I'm in a funk. Don't fight it. I know I'm in a funk. Okay. And I'll snap out of it. You know why? Because I'm going to take a shower and I'm going to do this podcast. And after the podcast, I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to go to have a meeting. And after the meeting, I'm going to go do this. And after that, I'm going to do this. And if I'm still feeling like I'm in a funk, I'll accept it. And I'll take back all the funkiness. And I promise you, I'll have a bad evening. But I may just have a pretty good day, and it'll wind up being a pretty good evening. I mean, do we have to break it down to the most ridiculous form? But sometimes we do. Sometimes we do.
Yes.
I'm not making fun of people. I find it fascinating. One of the things was that I always wanted to be a psychiatrist. I wrote about it, right?
Yes, you did say.
A good one, but maybe I would. But it seems through my daily interaction, my daily life, it seems like I am a psychiatrist. And even when I was in business for 40 years, it seemed like the questions and interviews and interaction with people that I would have, almost like, if not psychiatrist, definitely a reporter, like one of those Snoop reporters that digs down.
Investigative.
I would definitely ask the most uncomfortable questions in the room.
Yes.
But they were all fear-based. They were like, okay, we're shaking hands on this deal, and I'm going to make X amount of commission because of this deal. And then we're all happy. Yes. We're all walking away. And I'm the guy who says, wait, how often are you going to pay me? Is it once a month? Is it once a week? Well, we were going to pay you monthly. We were going to pay you what you did from today to 30 days. We'd pay you the following month. And I'd be the guy that says, well, wait a minute. If you're making this money now, why are you waiting for a month to pay me what you already have? And all the people with me in that meeting were like, shut up, just leave it alone. We made a deal, we're going to get paid. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But why can't I have my money as fast as you have yours? Well, let's sit down again and hash this out. And I swear to you, people would cringe. They would like white knuckle. They were just like fidgety. There's one of my associates was, at that table, just, taking his pen and stabbing a napkin, doing all these stupid things. And if you think about it, when you have that in your head, like, I want to get paid fast. Yeah, I could wait a month.
Yes.
But if you're getting paid immediately, at least at the very least, pay me every week. Why a month? Why? You're holding on to my money? You're making interest? If so, tell me. If you are, then we'll split the interest too. There's always something. But instead of just walking away and taking a statement at face value, I would always turn around and ask that last, just annoying, uncomfortable, excruciating question. But because I stopped and addressed it head on, I had some of the best business relationships with the best understanding in the world, and they paid the most. When people are like,
yes,
making all, because I established a real relationship. So back to the psychiatry thing. I think it's funny that I'm able to understand now that a lot of people go through these paranoias and phobias and feelings that I once had in my head. I understand it because people now share stuff with me. They share stuff that they hear us do, that how it makes them feel, or they'll share with me about the plunge that they want to take and leave their current job and do this side business full time. And thanks for the advice, or thanks for the confidence, or thanks for the encouragement. Those are all fascinating things, right? But I also get a lot of feedback where they're like, I'm not doing very well today, and I know I'm in a funk, and I know I should snap out of it, but it's just nothing feels good today.
Yes.
And I can't just sit there and say, well, wow, that just sounds crazy, because we've all felt that way. We've all felt that way, right?
Of course,
So,
yes.
To be able to share real things with real people is crucial for our survival.
Yes.
I know I went off course a little bit, but don't gloss over your life or everybody else in it. Don't ask that uncomfortable question. Ask the menial, minute thing that you think is so trivial nobody else is going to care. Because what you're doing is you're uncluttering your own closet. They're not going to bother the person you're asking as much as you holding that question and reserving it for another day. Yes. You walk away from that meeting, you walk away from that interaction with leftover garbage in your attic. I like a clean attic. So I'm going to ask these questions now while I have you, because when I leave, Carina, I don't want any cobwebs in my attic.
No, because
So I'd rather ask something that may be uncomfortable to you, but by asking it, not only am I going to get a clear answer and clear understanding, but I don't carry that question with me.
Yes.
See, people could take it too. People could take direct questions, don't interrogate. But, at the same time, I mean, share, right?
Yes. It's better because then you open the communication and you know where you stand with each other as well. So if you ask that question, and sometimes like you were saying, your associates were cringing because, we have this weird notion that you don't talk about money and you don't talk about this and you don't talk about that. And people are just afraid. So what happens is when you walk away from that meeting with all this stuff in your head, all these questions, they weigh you down. And by the end, and they just my grandmother always used to say, now this is a bit of a rude, like, gross thing, but when you see feces, like poo, if you take a stick and you stir it, the more you stir it, the more it stinks, right? Right? That's a horrible vision. That's exactly the same thing. It just smells bad.
Wow. God bless your grandmother.
Right?
Wow. Put that on a T-shirt. You'll make a lot. You'll make a lot of money. No, look, what I was saying is this, right? I was actually giving an example, you being the person that I'm about to do business with, right?
Yes, yes.
We shake hands, we do contracts, we establish a relationship. You tell me you're going to pay me commission, and I walk away like, leave it alone, don't ask anymore, whatever. If I did that, in 30 days, I'm going to be like, it's been 30 days. Is it like before the weekend? Is it after the weekend? Why didn't I get a wire? Was it because it was after 5 o'clock? How come I didn't get a commission statement? Are they going out of business? Are they holding my money? What are they doing?
Yes, that's exactly, yes.
Is it this? Is it that? And some people are perfectly fine just letting that go and living with that every month. Every month. One of my associates, hey, we should have gotten paid by now. Can you check your account? How come we didn't get paid? Oh, did you talk to them? That's funny because I left a message and I didn't talk to them either. What's going on? Now, he said he was going on vacation, but he wouldn't have just gone on vacation if he didn't pay us. Let's call another company and find out if they got paid. Did they get paid? I don't know. Are they going out of business?
Yes.
Are they doing okay? I mean, are they scamming our money? Because if they're scamming our money, we're going to go, hey.
Right.
Relax.
Right.
Wow.
Yes.
And they're perfectly fine having that exact, and that actually for 10 years, I would hear every month.
Yes.
And that's when I decided to say, whoa, I'm getting paid at the speed of light with you. And I'm going to get paid when you guys get paid. And there's going to be no problem. And I want to see statements in real time. So if you died, I still know that I got paid. Plain and simple. That's business,
Yes,
people. I'm
yes.
not trying to be mean or whatever.
No,
but I
no,
would
you're
rather
right.
do that than listen to this, oh my God, what's going on? The sky's falling every month. Every month. Not 1 month, every month for 10 years.
Yes. So that's the
Wow.
garbage that I was talking about. You carry that stuff in your head, that smelly stuff. It's crazy.
Well, yeah.
Because
well,
you haven't established the boundaries, or you haven't.
This was the smelliest then, if we're going to go that route. But there was only one way to fix that. I mean, I could have said, hey, if you don't like it, why don't you find out about it? Or, hey, let's just, let's go visit them. Let's go visit them. It's almost commission time. Let's visit them. So we're there. And then when we're walking out, we'll ask, oh, by the way, did you send our commission? Well, but you got to do that every month.
Yes.
I'm not going to do that, right? So it was one and done. What would be the fear? You know what? I'm really out to screw you guys, and no, you're not getting paid, and I will never pay you. Okay.
Right. Yes.
That hurts.
But at least even that,
That
right?
hurts. That hurts. That would be devastating. But at least I know up front.
Yes,
And
exactly.
I just make different arrangements. Am I going to? And the world still turns. Maybe it turns poorly that 1 month, but after that, I'll figure it out. I'll go to, use a contract with somebody else. But the point is just that what we do to avoid a direct question, or worse, to not hear a direct answer,
Yes.
is to me remarkable. That we would rather sit in self-doubt and wonder than just attack the big, like you used to say, not eat, but attack the biggest elephant in the room. Where are you? Because I'm coming for you first. I want to know where I stand. I need to know my world. If I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a business guy and I'm not an employee, I don't rely on my parents for money. I don't have a trust fund like some people.
Yes.
I work for a living and I chose to work for myself. I need to know everything about the world I'm entering, right?
Right.
The most uncomfortable question is, how am I going to get paid? Which is the last question people want to ask, but really the most important question.
Yes, of course.
Right.
Of course. And we'd rather stay in that self-doubt and that smelly stuff in our heads and just create bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger stories
Yeah.
that aren't even true.
Well,
But we start believing them as well.
they're either not true or I'd rather hear them now than later, because you save yourself a lot of mental stress, right? And aggravation as well, which is to me more valuable than physical. But knowing that things could change so quickly in my life just by asking the uncomfortable question, or asking a direct question, or attacking that doubt in my head head on.
Yes.
Even me,
Yes.
I'll attack myself. Because I could do that so quickly, I'm not worried about a bad moment or a bad day. Because it always changes. It always changes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because I don't want to dwell on things. It's just, for me, especially for me, not a wise thing to do. Right? I mean, I suffer from alcoholism and addiction, which, alcoholics and, addicts might understand that world a lot better. But for somebody who's not, it's tough enough having a happy, successful life. But add that into the mix, the idle mind kind of thing,
Yes.
playground is just exponentially important, right? For me,
Yes.
I could sit and relax and have a lazy day. But if I have a bad moment, mine compounds a lot faster than somebody else's, because I'm a former addict. And so former addicts, what's their default mechanism? Well, what made me feel good? Let me pop a pill,
Of course.
have a drink. Let me, and it could be as easy, as instantaneous as that. If you understood how fast you could go from ecstatic and remarkably happy to completely sad and suicidal, then you'd understand that you shouldn't even let yourself go there.
Yeah.
You should do everything in your power just to stay on the other side. Trick your mind, move around, take a shower, interact, do whatever you have to do, because it just happens like that.
Yes, it's very easy. It's very easy to spiral. But a lot of times as well, it's good to stay in that negative emotion for a bit, so you can see. For me, so that I can see where it comes from, and I can. It's like almost like a deep dive, so that I can see where it comes from, and hopefully learn something from it, so that it doesn't happen again. And I mean, it always does happen, but it's always on a different level if I do that for myself.
Well, we'll test out your statement just now. The next time you book somebody for your show and doesn't show up, let's see what you'll do exactly different than last time. A lot of times you're going to repeat the same mistake. I think this is where we might disagree. But as much as we want to be experts, I never make the same mistake twice. Yes, you do. I do. and I've made it more than twice. And I'll continue to make the same mistake, because one of the variables that people don't predict or take into account for by making that statement, I never make the same mistake twice. You're saying that as if you were a machine without a heart or a soul or feelings. But we are not machines, and we do have a heart, we do have a soul, and we do have feelings. That changes everything.
Yes.
Constantly. So yeah, I'll keep making the same mistake. It's just I'll be able to recover from mistakes quicker because I know what it feels like. I know this is a mistake. And even if it's not a blatant mistake, it feels like a mistake. I mean, it's this unmistakable feeling that I get that tells me I either need clarification right now, asking that uncomfortable question, or I need to bail. And, at times, hey, if it's a loss, count your blessings. This doesn't feel right.
Yes.
business is supposed to feel right. It could be tense, it could be scary, it could be different, it could be emotional, but in the end, it's supposed to feel right. Relationships with people are supposed to feel right. You're not supposed to question or doubt everything out of that person's mouth. After a while, it gets exhausting. You're just like,
no, well, then it's
why am I in this? Right?
Yes.
You can't add water like a chia plant or a chia pet and create your perfect mate or your perfect soulmate or your best friend or whatever. You know, it takes hard work, but you got to go with your senses and you got to go with your feelings. And so if something doesn't feel right, for me, that's the time where, Dino, pull that scab, make people at the table cringe. This is the time, you better do it. Or you got to walk away because I don't want to feel that way. But when you sit there and say, well, so I can learn so that it never happens to me again, Carina, I'm sorry, but it will happen.
Yes. That didn't sound right. What I meant is maybe my reaction towards it will be a bit different, right? So instead of having like this tantrum and like this, like, oh my word, it's the end of the world, I can go, okay, you know what, people do what they do, and let's just move on. That's what I'm trying to say. But it is a lot to do with intuition. So
now, okay, can I ask you a personal question? This person who was going to be on the show, right?
Yes.
Even though you don't know them very well, if you really wanted to, if you were like me asking that terrifically uncomfortable question, would you be able to just get in your car or take a walk or whatever and go visit this person? Would you be able to do that?
I don't really know where they live, but I could. Of course I could.
But you knew where they hung around. You knew where they worked. You'd be able to locate them, right?
Possibly.
Okay.
Well, you see, now you could, I suppose, if you can do anything you want to. I mean, if you want to do something, you find a way, right?
But you would have the ability to. I mean, this guest didn't just show up out of thin air. You had to know him.
No.
You had to talk to him before, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So my explanation of one more uncomfortable question, if that ever happened to me and I was doubting myself, I wouldn't hesitate to get in my car and find this person and say, hey, you didn't show up. I just had a question. Was it because of me? I would ask. I don't know, but I would ask that. I'm not like that anymore too much. I control things a little bit better. But starting out, absolutely, I would ask that question without hesitation. Why? Because I just want to know. It's one thing to imagine and dwell, and it's another thing to know for a fact. And if the person said, yeah, it's because of your show, I don't like it, and I didn't want to be on it, yeah, that would hurt. But there's no cobwebs in my attic. It's peace.
Yes.
So
but
I
then
would have
I'd
done
also
this.
say, why did you?
Go ahead.
But I'd also say, then why did you agree to come onto my show? So why do you agree to come on my show and then not pitch? Like,
maybe he watched it after he agreed. I don't know, but how far are you willing to go? I mean, seriously, if I had somebody that did that to me and it affected me as it affected you, I would. There was a time where I would get in my car and I would go find them, not to be confrontational or mean, but just simply for my own reasons to find out why.
Yes.
And if I didn't want to do the show, obviously that's telling me, well, I got to concentrate on the show. I got to perfect the show. I got to make people want to be on the show. That's how I would do it. So that's a motivating thing for me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If it was, I like the show. I like what it's about. I just don't like you. I've heard that a couple times. I could deal with that too. But the unknown can drive you mad.
Yes. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I know.
Right.
So, but that's why you have to clear it up and have clear boundaries and know where you stand within any relationship, business, personal, whatever, right? So everyone knows what is expected almost, right?
Or the other way around. You got to tell people what you expect.
Yes, yes, yes.
You said they have to tell you what is expected. You have to tell them what you expect.
Yes. It's a mutual thing, I think. It's a mutual thing.
Yeah, and I preach this in recovery a lot, but it's in life as well. It's people feel like they've given up control of everything because, I can't drink, I can't get high, I can't hang around here, I can't have friends, I can't have and what I try and express to them is that all you've done is you've taken away everybody's power and you have all the power. And now you're just being very selective who you're letting in your world.
Yes.
It's not going to be the same people, although maybe some, people can respect boundaries. Some people will never change. And you're just like, you know what? You're a booze cruise train wreck. You got to go.
Yes,
okay?
Yes, of course.
But
for
the most part, what you're going to find is that the people that you choose to let back in, you're going to be very selective. That is the ultimate control.
Yes.
And that is not just for recovery, Carina. That is for life. Yes. We don't realize how much control we have over our own lives. It's who we choose to let in and on our terms.
Yes.
Right?
It's our lives. Eh?
It's just like having a bunch of Facebook friends and I have 5,000 friends. I can't have any more friends. That's the limit. And then I have 20,000 followers. That's great. But do you know them? I mean, and if you do, how many of them do you know? These other people, do you know they do this? Do you know they do that? Do you know that they believe this or they have these kind of pictures? You probably don't know. You're just looking at a number. I have this many followers. In life, I'd rather have 5 good followers that I could count on my hand than a whole bunch of people that I know nothing about that I've just let into my world. That's, for me, the ultimate loss of control. I need to control my world, especially as a recovering addict, but also just from a mental health standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, from just a happy life standpoint. You have to protect what's yours and not give it up to somebody so quickly, right? If you have a bad day, I'll console you, I'll help you, I'll listen, I'll do, whatever. But as much as I want to help you, I'm not going to allow your bad day to affect my world. There are mechanisms in place.
Yes, of course.
And that's all I'm saying. Like, if I let a person having a bad day in and then I have another person having and they're all having a bad day, if I have no outlet, I'll lose my mind.
No, you can't do that. That's insane.
You know what I mean? It is insane. So again, the state of mind or how we started the self-worth, you're worth a lot more than you think. If you really think about it, you have always held all the power and all the control over the outcome of your life. Yes. And the only thing that we're talking about here, if I need to be so bold, is that we're afraid to feel sometimes. So much so that, God forbid, we have a bad moment. God forbid we have a bad day. God forbid we have a sad song that made us tear up. Oh my God, what book can I read to stop me from feeling this way?
Yeah. That's
Damn
crazy.
It, man. Are you so terrified of feeling bad just for a moment that you will do the most outrageous things just to avoid a bad moment? Yes. Is that what we've become?
Yes, it's sad. It's very sad.
You have the control. Get up, change the channel. Get up, take some action. Get up, take a shower. Get up, leave the house. Change the outcome of your day. Change the trajectory of your day. And what you'll find is then you'll start feeling better.
Yes. Yes, of course.
But you have always had the control to feel great, to feel bad. I could sit here and we could dwell on something, and we could dwell on a subject of death. And I guarantee you by the time we're done talking, everybody listening, including ourselves, is going to feel bad, horrible. Why would I want to do that? Maybe a different show. But just to show the difference in the state of mind just by just dwelling on something, dwelling. So if you're going to dwell on something, just understand, like, don't be so terrified about feeling bad. It's just a moment and it passes. That's it.
Yes.
All right. I hope this helped somebody out. I hope this changed somebody's life, somebody's outlook. I like the halo around your head.
Yeah, I'm sorry about this. I don't know why this.
I don't either. It was interesting. It's a new medium, and always up for trying new things. But thank you very much for today.
Thank you.
I hope I answered somebody's question, but hopefully you guys can go out and have a good day. Okay?
Yes. Thank you. And thank you for all the comments here. But unfortunately, StreamYard's not letting me reply. So we'll reply in the group.
We were live.
Putting that out there. Yeah, we were live. Sorry, I didn't tell you. I told you we were live.
Would it have made a difference?
No.
All right. Okay, well, I'm glad we were live. That's good.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. And tell us if you're enjoying this, and then maybe we'll do it every week this way. We're just testing it out, just for the fun.
Cool. I don't know how to get off, but...
thank you so much, everyone. See you next week. Bye.